here of April 9th. We're going to start off, go through 1 through 3, and then we'll have public comments. But we'll start off with our prayer this afternoon, with Mr. Werman.
Our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this community. We thank you especially for all those who serve this community as part of this county and those who come to do the work of the county here today. Please be with all of those here and throughout the world who are suffering, who are in need. Give them strength and bring them peace. And bring us wisdom and courage and understanding to do the work of our community here tonight as we move forward. May your will be done. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Mr. Tootin, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Freedom of Information Act?
In compliance with the Freedom of Information Act, notice of meeting and agendas were posted and distributed to news media and persons requesting notification.
Thank you. Minutes of April 26th. For approval. Second. Moved by Mr. Pryor, seconded by Mr. Moody. Any additions, deletions, corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Recognitions and resolutions.
Approval 3A and B.
Moved by Mr. Pryor, seconded by Mr. Moody. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Floodplain Manager of the Year. Sean Dove.
Mm-hmm.
And Akeem Bayou.
You got the award.
Thank you all for coming up.
Congratulations.
Please do.
Yeah, Sean, we are glad to have you on our local department staff. The department nominate you as a floodplain manager. Sure enough, you deserve it. Thank you so much for your dedication. Thank you so much for your technical expertise. Thank you so much for the excellent customer service you provide Charleston County citizen. If you would like to say anything,
Absolutely.
and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to obviously thank South Carolina Association for Hazard Mitigation for the award. I also want to thank Paul and Mr. Tootin for arranging this. And I want to thank you all for having me. I know you all are very busy. But none of my success is my own. We have a very complex job in a very complex county. So I want to thank my team, the department, and then of course I want to thank Hakeem. Under his leadership, we are now one of the top floodplain management programs in the country. And I think we can really fight for that #1 spot. And I know if Hakeem has his way, we're going to be #1 in no time. So I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And I hope we're up here again for some of the great
Thank you. Thank you. You get a picture? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Fair Housing Month resolution. We're
Yes.
going to recognize Luella Smalls and her staff and Otha Matthews as well. Y'all want to come up?
A resolution of Charleston County Council, whereas HUD-funded grant recipients are obligated under various laws and regulations not to discriminate in housing or services directly or indirectly on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, national origin, age, familial status, or disability, and provide equal access without regard to actual or perceived sexual orientation, gender identity, or marital status. And whereas fair housing and fair housing choice is generally defined as the ability of people with similar incomes to have similar access to housing. And whereas fair housing is an issue of affordable housing in our cities and rural areas and continues to be a problem for many families of all races, the young and the elderly. And whereas Charleston County reaffirms its policy to ensure equal opportunity for all persons without regard to race, color, religion, gender, sexual orientation, national origin, marital status, age, or disability. And whereas fair housing provides an effective planning approach to aid participants in taking meaningful actions to overcome historic patterns of segregation, promote fair housing choice, and foster inclusive communities that are free from discrimination. Now therefore be it resolved that Charleston County Council does hereby proclaim April 2024 as Fair Housing Month in Charleston County and urges all citizens of Charleston County to join in this effort to reaffirm fair housing opportunities for all people and to practice the letter and spirit of the Fair Housing Law. Charleston County Council, Herbert R. Sass III, Chairman.
Would you like to say anything?
Would you like him first?
No, I'd love for you to say something.
I just want to thank him for his partnering with Charleston County. While we're all working diligently to increase the amount of affordable housing in Charleston, we also want to make sure that it remains fair. So we thank you for partnering with us for all of the years that you have been one of our partners, and we thank you for the work you continue to do in Charleston County.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
That's great. It's so important, the job y'all do.
Would you like to say something?
Just a couple things. This is so important, and I want to thank Gail and her team, and also want to recognize my board chair, Eric Watson, and my staff, Adrian Wilson, who does most of the heavy lifting as it relates to the day-to-day. But the most important thing about this program is this. It's not the Urban League in and of itself. It's what we do on behalf of the residents here in Charleston County. And we do that in the spirit of affirmatively furthering fair housing, which says that we need to do a better job in creating more inclusive communities, that we need to do a better job in fighting discrimination, and we need to do a better job in creating home ownerships for people of color. Every day, we push back against people who are being evicted illegally. Every day, we try to protect those persons who are being charged $25 a day for being late on their rent. $25 a day. Every day, we're working hard to increase home ownership opportunities for people of color who are denied loans in this county 4-to-1 compared to their white counterparts. And so, as I say, it's not about the Urban League. It's about what we need to do collectively. At the end of the day, the most important thing that we can do is work hard that everyone has an equal opportunity to safe and affordable and decent housing and not be discriminated because of who they are. Thank you for your support. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you all. Thank you. Okay, we'll disband our county council meeting for a public hearing, urban entitlement annual action plan.
The County of Charleston is pleased to announce its annual action plan. The plan is a document that outlines how the County of Charleston, its participating jurisdictions, and the City of North Charleston propose to spend federal grant dollars from the U.S. Department of Housing Urban Development during the 2024-2025 program years. All interested parties are encouraged to attend the following public hearings to offer comments on the plan. On Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. for Charleston County funds.
There's nobody signed up to speak for that.
No, nobody signed up?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So now we will have our regular public comments.
All right, we have 9 people signed up. The first person is Lynn Hopt, and then Cerise Sander and Alan Ali.
Hi, Lynn Hodap, 623 Ondaw Lakes Boulevard, Ondaw, South Carolina. I'm here to talk about the land use element. I'm a resident of a rural area, and there is enormous pressure on Ondaw from developers who want to build large housing developments which will destroy the rural character. I am asking you to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation to eliminate the language for the comprehensive plan that allows extra density in the rural areas. I agree with the councilman who said that these density bonuses are contrary to the comprehensive plan, contrary to the urban growth boundary, contrary to the whole agricultural preservation district. It would double density in areas that don't need it. These areas are what's left of rural Charleston County. Much of the land in these rural areas are wetlands that can't be built on anyways, so the proposal to allow increased density if 50% of the land is left in a conservative area is not really any protection at all, as owners of large rural tracts would only be able to get additional density simply by conserving wetland areas that are not suitable for building in the first place. The Planning Commission is thinking ahead to increasing development pressures that all of our rural areas are facing. To say that this language in the comp plan has worked okay for the past years, so why change it now, ignores the rapid growth and development pressure that the entire Charleston area has experienced for the past 5 years. This increasing density is the reason we have terrible traffic problems throughout the region. Allowing more density will only make traffic situations worse. The urban growth boundary was created for a reason, to keep our rural areas from becoming just another urban area. This council must move to protect our rural areas or the natural environment, the rural character that we all enjoy, the characteristics that the low country makes special. We will all lose. I ask you to vote to accept to eliminate the language in the comprehensive plan that allows extra density in the rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sharice Sander, Alan Ali, Francis Bolds.
Hello, I'm Sharice Sanders. I'm here to speak about my family's land at 651 and 653 Riverland Drive. You know, my family has lived on and celebrated on and mourned on this land. We are your constituents and the descendants of those ancestors who purchased these lands in blood and tears. Our forefathers knew the value of land, and they entrusted us as keepers of these sacred spaces. We have been entrusted to preserve and care for this land. And honestly, in all candor, we are not willing to give another blade of grass or another patch of this sacred and historical land for change or cement or golf courses or golf carts or 30 pieces of silver. If safety is the real issue, there are other options. And it's like fixing the sidewalk maybe, as opposed to taking generations of family land. At least those should be considered before these drastic actions are taken. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alan Ali, Francis Bolds, Diamond Curry.
Good evening, everyone. As a citizens of Charleston County, it's my inherent right to be able to speak at a public comment and to participate as a candidate for the elected position of sheriff. I want to thank the council for allowing me an open dialogue. This democratic fabric of our society thrives on the principles of free expression and fair elections. We all, and I, as a citizen of Charleston County, need to acknowledge the significance of these rights and the importance of a just and transparent election process. Every citizen holds immense value in shaping the policies and decisions that impact our community. Public comment allows individuals to express their concerns, ideas, and opinions, fostering an inclusive and democratic dialogue. I'm aware that the council doesn't control our election. However, I think that you will agree on how important a fair election is to our democracy. As a candidate for sheriff of Charleston County, I believe in upholding the principles of fairness, integrity, and equal opportunity. A level playing field allows citizens to choose their leaders based on merit, vision, and dedication to public service. It's through this fair election process that we can ensure accountability and legitimacy in our government. My name is Alan Ali. I hold a bachelor's degree. I've served 30 years in law enforcement, 6 years in Dallas Police Department, 8 months of the City of Charleston, and 25 years of the Charleston County Sheriff's Office. I am running for sheriff. Thank you for your time, your dedication, and service to our community.
Thank you, sir.
Francis Bolds, Diamond Curry, Swantasha Stokes.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Francis Bowles. I live at 647 Riverland Drive. This whole thing with this sidewalk project has gotten our entire neighborhood up in an uproar right now. We barely have 10 people walking that sidewalk a day. One of the biggest problems that we do see is it's not maintained, okay? Now we're hearing that they want to take, half of our front yards for a new sidewalk project, which is ridiculous, okay? We don't need it. Maintain what we have right now. I don't know if the council has gone down to Miss Walker's house, her house, where they did some building. Her whole yard floods. She has water that goes up to her knees almost, which is ridiculous. We need to maintain what we have right now. We don't need anything else, okay? Our families have lived there at least 100 years or more, okay? We are held to keep this land and keep it for generations afterwards, okay? Whatever it takes, okay? We will fight this, because I of course, I live right there, okay? I love this. I love where I live. I want it to go on for generations so my kids and their kids will have some place to live. The cost of living right now is ridiculous. This is all we have, okay? Versus other neighborhoods, we don't see this going on just in our community.
Thank you, sir.
Diamond Curry, Swantasha Stokes, Michael German.
Good evening, Diamond Curry at 5401 Mixon Avenue. I found out today that it's National County Government Month, so happy month to you all, whatever that means. But in the spirit of that, I did want to come up here on behalf of the Charleston Metro Chamber of Commerce and thank you all for what you've been doing with regard to infrastructure projects like the Northern Pitchfork on Johns Island. Really improve the quality of life for our citizens. So thank you for what you're doing for that. And we would encourage you all to, again, keep moving forward and please, please, please keep working towards the referendum this November to not only improve our roads, but to improve our parks, our green space, and the things that we enjoy about Charleston County. Thanks.
Thank you.
Swantasha Stokes, Michael German, Katie Zimmerman.
Hello, everyone. My name is Swantasha Stokes of 411 Gurley Street, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, in the Snowden community. What I wanted to speak about today was being required to annex with the Mount Pleasant Waterworks. Property was gifted to me by my great-grandmother to build a home for me and my family so that I can raise my family where I was raised in the Snowden community. I would like to discuss why I'm currently under contract for a new construction home. I have access to water and sewer, but I'm being told that I can't access the water and sewer until I annex with the town of Mount Pleasant. But in the ordinance that they have, it clearly states that we do not have to annex. So I wanted to know, why am I required to annex if I have access to water and sewage if it's already there? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
I thought this problem was resolved.
It is resolved for people who have septic tanks can hook up to the sewer without being annexed. And we need to have another meeting with Mount Pleasant to work on vacant lots. Somebody who has a lot that's building a house in an unincorporated area in Mount Pleasant, if they want to hook into the sewer, they're supposed to annex into the town. They do have an option of not annexing into the town and opting instead for a septic tank, which is not as good a solution. We know that's a bad solution. So we're supposed to have a meeting with Mount Pleasant to discuss it. We haven't scheduled one. We need to get one scheduled to meet with the Mount Pleasant water and sewer people to discuss this next phase.
I mean, because again, I guess this is my month for confusion because the way how Mr. German speaks, I thought the problem was resolved altogether.
Well, it's resolved for anyone who already has an existing septic
Existing.
tank.
But
If
someone
you-
like the young lady who,
doesn't have an existing septic tank.
okay,
And they've done that in other areas of the town as well. They're letting people hook up without annexing into the town. So they
Okay.
have made that. They did make that was a good gesture for them on their part to do that, but we need to go further. We need to get people who have vacant lots that want to build
Okay.
next to their
Yes, sir.
family.
Thank you, sir.
Question.
Yes, sir.
So the ordinance that we passed, that's saying that we found them in violation and they could be sued. So what are we going to do about this? Because this council, I think I was the chairman at that time.
Right.
We passed an ordinance against the town of Mount Pleasant, the sewer and water, Mount Pleasant sewer and water, that if they deny these folks, water and sewer based on they had to annex, and we would step in and help them, alleviate this problem.
It hadn't gone to court yet, is what I understand.
But what I'm saying is, this lady is a new person. She hadn't filed, so we need to get some kind of relief and let these people know that we are serious. I don't want to sue another government, but if we got an ordinance on the book and we're not going to use it, we may as well disband it. And so, maybe this is a legal question we can answer later on, but I need to know what would it take. Would they need to file a lawsuit and then we be, accompanied on the lawsuit, or do we file a lawsuit? Because the ordinance is there. And I think that's what we intended to do, and I think we must.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Yeah, we must.
But we need to get with Ms. Ham, and we need to talk about it.
I will be calling you tomorrow, man.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Michael German, Katie Zimmerman, Denise Council Ross.
Good evening, Michael German, 385 Greer Street, Snowden, South Carolina. I'm here in support of Ms. Swantasha Robinson, fourth generation. Her great-grandmother gave her some property to build a home in the Snowden community. Water and sewer is available, less than 100 feet away. Just like stated before, we've already have a county ordinance that says I don't have to annex into the town of Mount Pleasant. At this point, this young lady needs to start this home. But you, Charleston County, from that perspective, are the holdup because she can't get her permit unless Mount Pleasant Waterworks says water and sewer is available. To answer that question, she's got a letter where Mount Pleasant Waterworks does say it is available. It's the however portion that does not apply. And that is, however, you have to join the town to get the services. Your ordinance negates that. And at this point, the county just needs to go ahead and issue her permits so she can build her house. Mr. Sass, you've said that until this is resolved, we're not going to hold that person up any longer. We'll issue a permit for a septic tank. I think it's redundant. However, it's something that we need to do in the interim so she can get started. Because I don't want her to wait another 30 years for this to take place. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Katie Zimmerman, Denise Council.
Hi, Katie Zimmerman, Executive Director of Charleston Moves, 478 King Street. The county's team did a wonderful job putting together a strong grant application for the Better Northbridge project after you all voted unanimously for them to do so. That application was submitted in late February of this year. The BCD COG, federal partners, and we at Charleston Moves assisted as well. Not only that, but public support has been solid, with 172 letters of support included in the application itself from state legislators and officials, local government, healthcare facilities, nonprofits, clubs, academia, neighborhoods, and businesses. Citizens have been calling their congressmen to ask for their support of the grant application. Without our congressmen advocating on behalf of the project, the application will not go as far as it can and as it should. We have learned that no one in Congressman Clyburn's office nor at USDOT has heard from Charleston County directly advocating in support of the submitted application, and we're running out of time. The county took the time to create and submit an excellent application for a life-saving project. It's important to see it through. And if the application is selected for funding by USDOT, that means a much less expensive project. I'm urging each of you today to please reach out directly to Congressman Clyburn and USDOT to let them know how important the grant application and the project is. It's so late in the game that it's vital for each of you to reach out to federal representatives this week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Denise Council Ross.
Mr. Chairman, to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Based upon what I've just heard, who is it incumbent upon to contact Mr. Clyburn's office? Is there a lobbyist of sorts, or who does this come from? Council as a whole? I mean, if the majority have said yes, let's move on. I mean, who's it incumbent upon?
Well, we passed it, and all those other groups are supporting it, so I would assume.
But I guess my question is, if that is the case, and providing what she said, not to say anything contrary, it's not the truth, why wouldn't Congressman Clyburn's office would have heard about this, or at least seek to have it done? That's my question, sir. And again, whose responsibility is it from us as a council? Again, is it the lobbyists or who?
It is, I guess, well, we've done what we were supposed to do, and it's moved forward, correct, Ms. Zimmerman?
Mr. Chairman, if I might, this is public comment period.
I know, but I do want to find out, Ms. Zimmerman, real quickly.
Again, I must say, it was a question.
Hasn't COG or somebody else pushed it forward?
The application was submitted by the deadline of February 28th, and that's all I'm aware of.
Okay, well, we'll look into it and find out about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I know Mr. Moody said this is not public comment, but I'll address my question, to the chairman, which I think I have the right to do so, but can we discuss further? Because again, this must be my month that I'm not understanding anything. Because I'd like to know who's it incumbent upon? I mean, is it you as chairman? Is it council as a whole? Whose responsibility is it? But again, we can discuss afterwards, sir.
We'll find out about it, and then we'll discuss it.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
First, let me thank the board for reconsidering, or the council for reconsidering the parameters of the proposed Riverland Drive pedestrian project. As you're aware, the original plan substantially and negatively impacted my family's land. So James Island is a second home, and my roots run deep on this island. I walked Bradham Road when it was still a dirt road, and my grandfather, born in 1909, laid the cornerstone of First Baptist Church on James Island, as well as helped build a lot of other churches and homes and buildings throughout Charleston. My great-grandfather, born in 1883, was determined to own a parcel of land. He came from Wadmalaw to James Island in 1921 to sharecrop during the day, and he worked the Wapu drawbridge at night. He leased a house and farmland on Daniel Ellis Plantation, and I don't mean the road near the IHOP, I mean the plantation. And he saved his money to buy land and almost had enough when the Great Depression hit, and they lost all of their money in the bank. But they began all over again, and eventually he saved enough to buy 14 acres of land from Riverland Drive, what's now Riverland Drive, the Bradham Road, all the way to the Stono River. My great-great-grandfather, Caesar Roper, born into slavery in 1860, his voice is recorded in the Library of Congress. For over 10 years, newspaper articles depict how Caesar Roper and the field hands sang and danced in the performances of Plantation Echoes in the largest auditoriums in Charleston, and this was in the 1920s. My great-great-grandfather and others performed 1930s. My great-great-grandfather and others performed for George Gershwin in July 1934. So Plantation Echoes was the direct inspiration for the Gershwin play Porgy and Bess. I tell you all of this history as not just because it's my history, but it's James Island history. And if you claim James Island, it is your history as well. And so I tell you this so that you understand that the taking of our land is not about money. This land represents what we endured and what we persevered, and that we persevered. Because my family persevered on this land, I was able to serve my country for 23 years as an Army officer in the Judge Advocate General Corps. other alternatives, please, speed bumps, updating the current sidewalks, so please use those other alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
That's the end.
That's it? Okay, thank you. Thank you. We'll go back into county council. Number 4, second reading ordinances, increase the 911 wireline fee to 60 cents. Second reading.
An ordinance amending those portions of Chapter 2, Article 5, Division 2, Section 2-137 dealing with fees. Mr. Boykin?
Aye.
Mr. Darby?
Aye.
Mrs. Honeycutt?
Aye.
Mr. Kabrowski? Mr. Middleton?
He's
Okay. Mr. Moody?
Aye.
Mr. Pryor?
Aye.
Mr. Werman? Aye. Mr. Sass?
Aye.
Ordinance passes second reading with 8 ayes and 1 absent at the time of voting.
Thank you. Committee recommendations with first reading ordinances.
For committee recommendations, all 3 items.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Moody, seconded by Ms. Honeycutt.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
is this for the committee recommendation based on what Reverend Middleton showed us on the other night? What we all agreed on?
Yes, sir. I know that was the last one.
So is Reverend Middleton on the line? Can you hear us? Reverend Middleton?
He's muted.
Could you unmute yourself? I'd like to hear from him because he had a lot of questions. I want to make sure that, because this is first reading anyway, so we have the right to amend up to third reading.
We do.
Is that what you're saying, Mr. Moody, the right to amend?
Yes, absolutely.
So that way he can weigh in if it isn't.
Recommendations with the ability to change up to third reading.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Wait, and you accepted that? I'm sorry. Mr. Werman?
Sorry, can we take the housing element out of this one? Thank you. So it would be, the motion on the floor, I guess,
Wants
would
to
be
take
B and
anything
C.
else out?
For 3.10.
Move for committee recommendation, item 5A.
That's probably, yeah.
Okay, so now we've taken. One by one. Taken one by one. 5A, the housing element.
With the
Yes.
right to amend at third reading, that's correct. Thank you,
Okay.
Councilman Pryor.
Great. Is there any more discussion?
I just want to ask, why, sir, why you want to separate, Mr. Werman? In terms of 5A, what's the rationale?
Well, I made an argument for some language in committee that did not pass, failed, was rejected, but I just, try to stay consistent, so
Oh, okay.
that was it.
So what is your problem with the language, sir? I just don't know, sir.
Sorry, so this had to do with I'll try and be brief. This had to do with the alternative housing types. I had made obviously that was rejected the first time we went through it. I'd made a proposal last Thursday to try and soften it. That did not pass, but I was just, again, trying to stay consistent with.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we want to vote on 5A first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it. Okay, 5B, transportation
Committee
element.
recommendation.
Second.
The right to amend up to
Amend at
third.
third reading, Teddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that one?
For the public, this is a public meeting. Can we read it, what it is we're voting on, so when the public listens to us, that they can better understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Chapter 3.7, Transportation Element, we are going to amend Strategy 15 as follows to read, prioritize complete street and bridges by promoting where feasible, contextually appropriate pedestrian and bike access be incorporated in existing and planned public roadway and bridge projects, and explore potential funding sources for additional pedestrian and bike access projects.
Thank you. I didn't mean to extend
Thank
the
you.
breath.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. 5C, Chapter 10, Energy and Sustainability Element.
The recommendation with the right to amend up to third reading. Mr. Moody.
Mr. Pryor, seconded by Mr. Boykin, I believe.
And I would ask to read that as well.
All right, sir.
The motion is to amend the goal statement recommended by the committee at their March 21st, 2024 meeting as follows. Charleston County will explore and engage in testing and trials for possible alternative energy solutions in an effort to reduce overall greenhouse gas emissions and implement those where it is fiscally responsible and practical to do so.
Any discussion?
I would just like to add to the discussion, you know, I'm new to this. I wasn't here when everything was started, but I'd like some consideration as to how what we do impacts our energy independence in terms of what we do here. And in terms of, I think it's good to get alternative sources of energy, but I think in terms of our whole climate action thing that we ought to give what we know of the realities of rising sea levels and warmer temperatures. Our emphasis should be on flood prevention and how we deal with flooding, as opposed to we're not members of Congress, we're not members of the state legislature to impact policy in terms of what we use for our vehicles, as opposed to we have emergency situations that we know of rising tides with flooding. And I bring this up as to my concern in 995 Morrison Drive. We're building a huge 8-story, 8-block structure on something that we can't even put businesses or people living on the first floor because we know it's going to be 1 to 3 feet flooding in there. So I would wish that we put in an element of this. Sustainability ought to be our responsibility as custodians of the resources of the county to put as much emphasis on the flood mitigation and how we deal with that when all of our policies seem to induce higher density, more building everywhere. And that ought to be part of the sustainability issue. I just wanted to interject that. I gave this a lot of thought, and that's my concern, and the poisons we put in our waters and the runoff from all the increased congestion, all the increased building, the runoff in our waters, and that's part of sustainability as well. I think that should be an element of this.
Thank you. Ms. Honeycutt?
I know we also have this climate action discussion coming up, but part of this, from my perspective, is that we do need to be able to access federal resources for implementing policies that promote energy efficiency. We have an entire element in 13 that focuses on resilience, and that resilience element, I think, Mr. Kabrowski, if you read it, it does address all of the flooding concerns that you are mentioning, and likewise, our FEMA plans and some of the building code revisions that we've adopted lately all make building in flooded areas much more difficult and protect us from that rising sea level. So I know that we have worked really hard on that, and probably before you got here, but we do have those in our ordinance already.
Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out. I was just concerned about as we induce more congestion building, it goes to all these issues too. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just
Mr. Boykin?
Mr. Kabrowski, I'm also aware that our staff has been working on revisions themselves, which will have a lot to follow the city's actions that they've taken so far.
Good. All right. Thank you. All in favor of number 5C?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. 6, consent agenda.
Move for approval A through G.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Boykin. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. 6E, how did this come before us?
Which one you asking about?
6E?
Water contract.
South Red and Bexley.
It's award of a contract to do some engineering design work.
That's for the city of North Charleston. We just managing the project.
Right.
That come from our
CTC funds?
CTC funds.
Right.
So the city is asking, because I asked that question on Thursday, you weren't here, why are we getting involved? So the city asked that we do it. I'm sure we're going to charge them some type of fee for our manpower, right?
Right.
Because, I mean, we're going to have trucks, we're going to have equipment, we're going to have not unless we're going to sub this work out.
So this contract is for the design and permitting of the project, not for construction. It is a CTC project. Charleston County administers the C-Fund program for all of Charleston County, including the municipalities.
So this money that's going to pay for the design and all will come out of North Charleston's share.
So staff time who's dedicated to the project will be reimbursed from project funds.
Good.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I mean, just to me, that when you look at West Montague Avenue, things getting done. Then you go on the other side, East Montague, and go to this area, getting things done. I'm saying perhaps I just need to take my plight to the city of North Charleston.
Yep.
Because it just, in certain areas, it's getting overlooked. And it's the poor area just getting overlooked. I mean, look at East Montague Avenue. I mean, West Montague is good, beautiful, wonderful. And now you're going to bypass an entire area to go to another area, which is nearly affluent. And these are the things perhaps just need to take up the city of North Charleston.
Mr. Darby, I suggest you talk to Mr. Hudson. He's your new city council member.
Yes, sir.
And he is good to work with.
Thank you, sir.
I think he's a neighbor of Mr. Werman.
I would recommend that as well.
Recommend that highly. I think you'll be satisfied.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any others to discuss? Mr. Moody?
Just a question on 6F. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Tootin or Mr. Smalls, this lease, getting them back in county-owned property is critical and big-time money savings. 18 months, I mean, I know we got some moving parts. Is there any exit if we're able to get them back in this building in 15 or 16 months? Are we end the lease, or is it hard 18? And okay.
Because of the construction site we're doing, work on the Zay complex, and you got renovate the building next door. So there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to the whole construction schedule.
Can we go month to month if we go long and not have to do another long-term lease, Mrs. Ham?
I think.
I'd have to look at the contract.
We can negotiate that. We can
Well, cost you more, though.
Yeah.
Well, I don't mind it costing more. I just don't want to get into a 6 or 12 month lease if I can just need one more month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think
Thank you. So we're ready to vote on 6A through 6G. Everybody's fine with that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Finance Committee recommendations. Maybank Highway Improvements Collaboration, request to approve.
Move for committee recommendation on both.
Moved by Mr. Boykin, seconded by Ms. Honeycutt.
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and as I told them the other day, I would support this, but I want to be perfectly clear. This is just for design work. This is not to fund the project. Because I don't want it to come back to us, 6, 7, 8 months from now and says, well, y'all voted to fund the project. This is just for the design work, correct?
Yes, sir.
So I would like the language to specify, up to $1.8 million in design work. And whatever's left goes back into the half-penny sales tax.
Can't we just say
transportation.
for design work?
Yeah,
We don't know how
but
much-
still, the language would read up to 1.8.
That's all there is.
Yeah, but I don't want to commit, if it's 1.5, the other 3 should come back, which it always does. I don't want to say 1.8 and then we only spend 1.5 and the other 300 should come back for us to allocate what we see appropriate.
It would normally come back if, yeah.
That allocation would come to council, because that's what I made my point the other night. I don't mind doing this. When this money is available, everybody should know, because we all got things in our district, turn lanes, sidewalks that needs to be done, and if the money is split up equally, if that's council desire, it could get some things done in district.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Any further discussion on 7A, Maybank Highway Improvements Collaboration?
A and B.
A and B.
The
A and
administrative
B. Okay. And County Administrator's contract. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Next item, council comments. Mr. Moody, you want to start us off?
Nothing tonight, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Darby?
We have a representative from Representative Clyburn's office, and perhaps he would be the person, former student of mine, Mr. Middleton, in terms of
the North Bridge grants or whatnot, and not at this time, but if you see me after the meeting.
Mr. Garvey, I don't want to mean to cut you off, but I'd like to meet with you, Mr. Sass, and Mr. Tootin about this, after the meeting.
Oh, okay, sir.
Yeah, that was going to be in my comment section, but I'd like to meet with y'all after the meeting.
Okay. Nothing to say, sir.
Bobrowski. The people that came from James Island tonight that spoke eloquently and passionately about their family, what the land means to them. It's part of the same effort that I think that we're fighting to preserve the historic settlement communities. And I heard you, and I have some great respect for the reverence for what the families went through and what that land means to them. So I thank you for taking the time and coming to share your stories tonight. And other speakers as well. And I hope they were heard about the density as I represent the largest rural area in the county. And if we don't change the density plan, we'll be creating urban spaces in our rural areas and eventually lose the character of what most of us, or many of us, love about living here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bobrowski. Mr. Werman?
Thank you, Chairman Sass. I'd first just thank everybody for all the work we've done, and thank Mr. Tootin for the work he's done in working out a new contract, and I'm excited that he's going to be sticking with us for some time. I would just say that the stability and the ability to pursue the county's priorities that he's demonstrated gives me a lot of confidence, and I'm just glad that we're going to be able to do that. I'll if I can join the meeting that's happening after this,
Yes,
I'd
so
happily
most
do
certainly.
so.
Most certainly. No problem.
Would like that invitation and understand the urgency. I want to see whatever we can do, and it sounds like we're going to figure out what all can be done to kind of get this over the hump, because I know it's been a priority for a long time. So I want to be a part of that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Pryor.
I'm good.
Mr. Boykin?
I just want to congratulate Coach Dawn Staley and the Lady Gamecocks for an unbelievable, phenomenal performance, and it makes me proud to be a Gamecock. Thanks.
Ms. Honeycutt?
Yes, sir. So she was up here earlier tonight. And I just have to give a shout out, and I'm going to start doing this more often. This might be the first time I've ever done this, but I got a very kind email from a citizen today who said that we really do need to recognize those who represent the county well. And he said that he wanted to salute Loella Smalls for her responsiveness and helpfulness explaining the $2 million grants for nonprofits, and that she had responded to his email inquiries rapidly and even after hours. So she is a worthy ambassador of efficient and effective county government. Thank you so much, Ms. Smalls.
Thank you.
Must be your cousin.
Very quickly, sir, we failed to officially recognize our new PIO at the last meeting. Chloe Field has joined us, has years of experience, has already been thrown into the fire on a few things, and has handled it very well. Also, thanks to council for allowing me to continue in this capacity, and thank you for the co-workers for your invaluable insights and lively conversations that we have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Ham? Thank you. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. We're getting through a lot of good, interesting things here regarding the comprehensive plan in the county, and pretty soon we'll be tackling the budget. I appreciate everybody's hard work, and we'll see you next week. Thank you all.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, sir. Let's go to the conference room. That's good, right?